Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Aero Workflow. My name is Sarah Syverson. I'm going to take you through Aero today, and along the way, we'll talk a little bit about the philosophy of workflow management that was used to build Aero. We're going to start with this managed dashboard in Aero. This is where you come in Aero as a firm owner and manager to get a bird's eye view of what's going on in your firm right now. The idea is that you don't want to have to interrupt the people who are actually doing the work to find out what's going on, but you want the ability to keep tabs on your firm, keep a pulse of what's going on. So you can come here and find out really quickly just what's due today, what's overdue, what's been deferred, what's in progress, and you can quickly click down into any of these categories and take a look at why these things are deferred. Maybe somebody needs a little extra help, they got too much work, maybe they're stuck, they need some more information from you or somebody else. And so it gives you the opportunity to take a look at your firm's work and address any issues before they become full-blown problems or emergencies. Now, the quick picture is great. It's really nice. Take a check on your firm. But on an ongoing basis, you need the ability to manage your firm's work. And that's what is provided here in this Manage Aero's reporting screen. It allows you to see everything in your firm. You have a choice of how you want to see it. You can see the default is to see what's going on today, but maybe you want to see what everybody on the team has for the coming week. Or maybe you want to see everything by client that's overdue and address anything that might become critical. So Aero allows you to take your firm's work and organize it, and then you have the ability to see it in a report, in a reported format, and see how much you've committed, what time you've committed for the week, maybe by client. Make sure that you have all the resources in place to meet your commitments, and just keep tabs on what's going on in your firm. And this is beautiful, this is great. But the question is, of course, how do you get to this point? How do you get to the point in Aero where all of your firm's work is neatly and beautifully organized? Everyone knows every day what they need to do, and all of your client work is finished on time and to the standard that you set. How do you get to that point? There's a few things in Aero that allow you to hopefully get to this point as quickly as possible. Of course, setting up and defining the work that your firm does is always a project, but we have some things in place to help you get through that project as quickly as possible. The first thing is the ability for you to create your own checklists, template checklists for the services you provide. So an outsourced accounting firm, depending on what services you provide, maybe you pay bills for your clients. Maybe you do payroll. Maybe you do basic accounting like bank reconciliation. Whatever it is, those services that you provide to your clients, the steps involved with each service, the checklist for that service, is going to be fairly similar from client to client. And so with that in mind, you can create a template for a service that you provide to your clients. So let's take a look at one of these templates that's already been created in our demo account. We're going to take a look at this payroll using Intuit Online Payroll. You can set up the general header information for this service, how long you think it should take, what kind of service it is, whether or not it's generally part of a fixed fee service, or if you bill by the hour for this service. You probably wouldn't assign it to a particular client or team member at this point because, again, this is a template. This is just a general checklist that you are going to use to then create and schedule services for clients in the future. And then here is the heart of this template. This is your checklist of each step that you want to have be performed each and every time this service is provided to a client, no matter what team member is doing it, no matter which client you're doing it for. You can create each step. Each step has the ability to attach additional resources to it. You can have a link where you might go for this one. It might be a spreadsheet you share with a client where they can put changes, process change requests. Maybe this one is a link to a Google Calendar showing holidays that fell during the pay period. Maybe this is a link to Intuit Online Payroll to log in and actually perform the payroll services. You can also create and attach your firm's operating procedures. So here's your checklist of the steps you want performed each time you do this service. An operating procedure is like a reference document with even more information on exactly how to verify timesheet approval or process payroll using IOP. So it's an additional reference document that then you can attach to this checklist. So you have your checklist set up, and that's great. You can come in, when you open your Aero account, it's completely blank. You can create all of these checklists on your own. It's kind of a daunting task. And with that in mind, Aero has created a library of standard templates that are for apps and activities that are common in outsourced accounting firms. So you can come to the library as an Aero subscriber and look for a task template that is something that you might do. Maybe you use Bill.com for your clients to pay bills. So you can take a look at this template that is in the Aero library and take a look at the steps, the checklist that has been created for you, see the attached resources. And once you look at that, you can say whether or not you want to use this template. If you decide you want to use it, you can go ahead and use this template to schedule a service for a client. If it's almost what you want, but not quite, you can make a copy of this template and then it becomes a template in your template list and you can edit it. All of the tasks that you create from the library, if Bill.com, say, were to completely change their user interface, which happens on a regular basis, any activity that you created using this library template would be updated automatically when the library template is updated. So that is another way that Aero helps you get your firm's work defined and organized. In addition to the ability to create these general templates, Aero helps you set up and schedule your services by having a method for you to schedule services on a recurring basis. A lot of the work that accounting firms do for their clients occurs on a regular basis. Maybe it's weekly, biweekly, monthly, semi-monthly, whatever it is. Even if it's quarterly or annually, it's still on a recurring basis. So again, coming back to our payroll task, you can pull the template that you already created, and at this point you would want to assign it to a team member who's going to be responsible for doing this task, and a client, a specific client that we're going to be doing this payroll task for on a regular basis. And maybe for this particular client, instead of fixed fee, this is going to be part of an hourly billable service. So you can make any of those small changes you want. And then you can take a look at the steps that came in with the template. If these steps are not quite right for this client, maybe for this client, they don't do holiday pay, so you want to delete that step. Or maybe for this client, there's an extra approval in there that you need to add, you can add a step. Whatever it is, once you have the checklist that is customized for this particular client all set, you come in and go ahead and schedule the service. So we're going to be doing payroll for this client from now through the end of the year, and I'm going to do it every other Thursday. And go ahead and schedule the service. And Aero will go out and insert individual occurrences of this task. It's going to show up on Robert's to-do list every other Thursday from now through the end of the year. And now you don't have to worry about this payroll slipping through the cracks. It's going to show up on Robert's task list, his to-do list. He's going to know that he has to do it, and you can worry about running your firm rather than running around making sure that all the little individual pieces of work for the clients get done. So we've looked at Aero's ability to help you set up and define your services by the ability for you to create your own checklist templates. You can use checklist templates that are available in the library. You can create your own operating procedures, and I'll show you one of those in a minute. You can also use operating procedures that have been created in the library. You can use ones that, so you can use operating procedures that have been created, and you can use these as reference documents as well. And so those are all the things that Aero does. And then as far as scheduling it goes, Aero has the ability to easily schedule recurring services. So now that you've used all these tools, you have all your work defined and organized. This is what it looks like. Let's flip over and see what it looks like to the team member who's logged in. When you log in, you come here, and this is everything that you need to do today. If you have work that was not finished yesterday, or the day before, it's still going to be on your list. But you're not going to see work on this to-do list that is due tomorrow or the next day. The idea being that you want to worry about finishing the work that needs to be done today. You don't necessarily want to worry about the work that was due tomorrow or the day after that. You'll notice that there's a few different kinds of things on this to-do list, a few different icons. There are all these little arrows, and these are tasks like paying bills or doing payroll. You can have meetings on here. You can integrate Aero with a Gmail account, and if you do that, then you can send and receive emails from Aero, and then a copy of that email would be saved in the client activity record. And the time that you spend working on those emails, reading and writing those emails, would also be tracked. You could even make that time billable. So that's a nice plus. But let's go in and take a look at just a payroll task. Here's the one that we just created and scheduled. And you'll see that this looks like a literal checklist. And as you check off each step, the little box is checked, and it's just like a paper checklist. The time notes, the name of each step is automatically copied into the time notes. And then those time notes are available with the time entry to sync to QBO. If you link your Aero account to your QBO account, you have the option of having all of your time entries automatically sent to your QuickBooks Online account. And if a task is marked as billable, then that time entry will be available to be added to a client invoice along with these time notes. You'll see there's additional resources listed here for the person doing the work. So here's an operating procedure that the firm set up on how to do the timesheets. Probably the person doing this payroll task knows how to do that, but maybe it's been a while since they did payroll, or maybe they're new on the job. Maybe they're filling in for somebody who's on vacation and they just want the ability to have that extra reference document. These reference to procedures are particularly helpful for tasks that are not performed on a regular basis. Maybe it's a task that's only done quarterly or annually, or maybe it's a task that's only done when you have a new client, like setting up a new client in Bill.com, or what information do you need to gather to open a new QBO account for your client. So things like that are very handy to have these written documents to refer to so that no small piece of the job falls through the cracks. In addition, you have the ability to, as I said, put in these links to outside websites. Any URL you can stick in here. Here's a link, as I said, to a Google Calendar. You could have a link to Intuit IOP to log in and actually do the payroll. And you'll notice that when I accepted this task and started working on it, this timer started running. So time is tracked automatically in Aero while you're performing the work. So there's no need to fill out timesheets to guess how long it took you to do that task. It's recorded for you. And once you start to collect this information in Aero, you will have some really great KPIs on how long it actually does take you to do these tasks. Are you, even if you're not billing by the hour, are your fixed fees appropriate? Are you doing a lot of work that's outside of the scope of the agreement? All of that information becomes available for you with this automatic time tracking. And there's additional resources available to the person doing the work. The idea behind putting all of these resources in one place is that you want your team and the people doing the work to have every possible roadblock removed before they start the task. So everything that they might possibly need, you want in one place. Where they go to do the work, what questions answered in reference documents before they can ask them. And then more information down here, including basic client information. Maybe they need to refer to a task that was completed last month or last year. That information is in this list of arrows. Everything that has been done for the client in the past or needs to be done is scheduled out in the future. In addition, a list of client contacts. Now, these contacts can be internal client contacts. They can also be vendors that you work with on behalf of the client. Maybe it's a banker or a lawyer, a tax accountant or CPA. Maybe it's the IT person. Whatever it is, those people will be listed here. So just in case somebody working on a task for a client needs to contact one of those people, the information will be right here. And then finally, every client in Aero has a vault. The vault is a place where you can store usernames and passwords that you use on behalf of the client. You can store checking account information if you need to have that for your clients, tax ID numbers. In addition, you can put in more general information, like if you use Smart Vault or Dropbox or HubDoc, you can put a link to the client's folder in those apps that will go straight to the folder and open the folder so the person doing the work can access the documents there. You can put in notes such as when does the client's fiscal year end, what kind of tax entity they are. And a couple of notes about the security of this vault. First of all, everything that is entered in this secured value column is stored in the database in an encrypted format. Also, you as the user have the ability to attach a security level to each entry in the vault. And anybody logged in at a lower security level, team members each have a security level assigned to them as well. So if somebody who was assigned an SL3 were logged in, they would only see these entries that are labeled SL1s. They wouldn't be able to see this more sensitive information at the higher security level. So that's how the vault works. And so as you're working on this task, maybe you hit a stopping point, you need more information. You can always save and complete. You're done with this task, it'll be off your list. Or you can save and defer. And when you save and defer, you can stick in a note so you know and your manager knows why you deferred this task. You can defer it to a future date if you know you're not going to touch it again today and don't want to see it on your list anymore. But once you defer it, it's going to come back on your list with a status of deferred so that you know that you've worked on it a little bit and you can go on to the next thing while you're waiting for the more information. Now, we have this beautiful list all nicely and neatly organized. And we come in and we're going to go through our list and finish everything. But unfortunately, that's never the way the day goes. the phone rings, clients have emergency, somebody calls in sick, whatever it is, you need the ability to start a task that is not on your list, has not been scheduled. And in Aero, you can do that anytime from this quick links. Just go ahead and start a task, fill out a few quick fields, choose maybe a client that this is for, and go ahead and start the task. So at that point, your timer is running, recording the time that you're spending on this unscheduled task. You have all the same client resources if you chose a client for this unscheduled task. You can mark this as a billable. Maybe this is the 15th time you've had to answer the same question from a client and you're going to start charging. And you can make internal notes to yourself. So you can handle this unscheduled task. Maybe there's some follow-up things that you need to do, but you're not going to do them right now. You want to finish the work that you were working on when you got interrupted. So you can go ahead and save and defer this and go back to your list and finish the tasks that were originally scheduled before you come back to the urgent phone call or whatever it was. And finally, I'd like to review the ability in Aero, the time tracking. So I know that the industry is definitely moving away from hourly billings. There are some activities we do, maybe a QuickBooks cleanup or a conversion that there's just no way until you start to see exactly what it's going to take you. So you want to do that in hourly billing. But maybe those regular monthly activities you're billing on an hourly basis, you still want to have that time tracking information even for those things that are not billable. Just you want to make sure that, first of all, your hourly rates are set in a way that allows you to make a profit. You want to be able to track things that may be unpaid support and training. Let's bill for that, or make sure that by client, the types of activities you're doing are part of the scope of the agreement and not things that are being done for the client by your staff that's so sweet. And make sure that the work that's being done outside of the scope gets billed, or maybe you need to change the scope of the agreement. Maybe it doesn't cover every service the client really wants. So having this time tracking information and time reporting is really essential too. There are two tiers of pricing to Aero. The library has two tiers of content. There is basic content that is available to all Aero subscribers, and then there's premium content. So the lower price is people who subscribe at the basic level, and the higher price is people who subscribe at the premium level. And Aero is not priced per user, it is priced by firm size. So we do have a package for a single user firm, and then a small firm is from 2 to 5 users, and then this price is per month, not per user. And that's how Aero works. You can just come to the website and take a look at the pricing, or even just open an account here. We do have a 30-day free trial, so you are welcome to try Aero for free and see how it goes. I do have a question here asking if it's designed for a larger firm or can a single person use it. Absolutely, Michelle. We have a large number of users who are sole proprietors. They find it very useful to manage their own workflow and not have to worry about whether or not they've let something slip through the cracks. The other benefit of that is it helps you have the discipline of defining and standardizing the services you provide so that you can define to your clients and your prospects exactly what it is you do and what your services encompass. And finally, as a sole proprietor, maybe you someday want to grow. And at that point, you have your work set up in a container that allows you to be scalable. If you have your checklists defined and your procedures defined and everything organized and scheduled, it's very easy to add another person. Maybe it's a part-time person, maybe it's just an extra person during busy season, but it allows you to scale up much more quickly once you have all this defined and organized. The free trial is available at all levels. So everybody, no matter what size, gets a 30-day free trial. So we don't limit the number of users you have on a free trial. You can have your whole firm on it working. Thank you for coming. If you have any further questions or think of more questions later, you can always contact us through the website, send an email to support@Aero Workflow, and those will be answered really quickly. And thank you, everyone, very much for coming.